Now we're actually going to start to assemble this. The first thing though when making an assembly is to move your base that you're going to fix, okay, to the origin, kind of center it on the origin there. And this piece should be a piece that you're going to build your assembly around. It should not be a piece that needs to move in the assembly. Okay, so we're going to choose this bar here. And notice when I tap on this bar, we get this uh, they call it the triad manipulator, which allows me to move this bar in different ways. So see, they were not attached to each other. And so the arrows allow you to do translations on the different axes. The planes, those little boxes there, allow you to move them around on the plane. So basically a translation on two axes, and the circles allow you to rotate the parts. Okay. Now, with that all being said, I want to go ahead and move this guy out of the way because he's kind of sitting on my origin here. So I double tap to get rid of the triad manipulator. And now I'm going to move this guy back so that I can see my origin there. Double tap. All right, so I'm going to have to do this in kind of a weird way just for the fact that I'm not on a desktop and I don't have the option of just locking a point in to the origin. So I'm going to have to create that point that I want to lock in. I'm going to put in my first mate connector, and I want to do it on this surface here, so I tap there. And notice it gives me all the options on the placements for my mate connector. So I want it to be at the bottom of that front face. Okay, and kind of pay attention to the zoom or to the view cube over here. You want to make sure it lines up. So the front of your object and the right of your object is going to be where you want it when you finish this. Okay, and so that first one's good. Okay, and now this is the weird one. I'm going to put one on my origin. And notice when I tap on my origin, it gives me three options there, and that's telling me which way do I want this mate connector to face. And I want it to face that way back there, so I tap that axis. And now I've got my two mate connectors. Hit the check, lock them in. Okay, now I'm going to do my first mate, which I'm actually going to get rid of in a minute. Um, like I said, this is kind of weird just because this is how I have to do it since we're on the iPad. So I click fastened, which locks in 0 degrees of freedom at the end. And I tap my two mate connectors, and notice now my bar is centered at the origin. Okay, now before I undo anything, I want to go ahead and tap on, well, actually, I don't need to tap on that. Um, oh, and one other thing, I'm going to go back and edit my fasten. One other thing to notice on all of these mates, down here at the bottom, you're going to see some settings like this. This changes the direction of the part, and it's not going to be really easy to see here, but basically it changes direction there, and this rotates it around. Okay? So if something's not quite lined up how you want it, those two buttons will help you down there. There's also an offset option where it allows you to move a certain distance from where those two mate connectors are. We can move them a certain distance apart. Like here we can show you. So let's say I want to move it 9 inches offset on the X direction. So there it goes. Moved it 9 in the X direction, which is the green axis you see there. We can turn that offset off because we don't want to do that. All right, so now that I've shown you that, let's go up to the rod. Let's tap on the little ellipse next to it, and we're going to click Fixed. Okay, now notice the fastened uh, mate down here at the bottom gets all upset. That's because you can't have two fixed objects together. The origin technically is fixed. So that's okay though. I have my bar fixed where I want it, centered on the origin. I can go ahead and delete that now. If we want to, just so that we don't have a lot of clutter, technically we don't need these connectors anymore either. So we've centered our part at the origin, and now we're ready to begin putting the slider or the clamps on it. All right.